Now, when you look at this worksheet, before you do anything with the worksheet, before you write anything on it, I want to make sure that you can think about them. Okay? Because if you don't have the idea of what to do, then you don't really know what to write. So for the first two questions here, so it's all about you knowing how to do completing the square. Because this is not the standard form, this is the general form. So do you know how to, put the x next to each other, put the y's next to each other, and then you do the completing the square. Okay. So this is about completing the square when the coefficients of x squared and y squared being 1. The next question is all about, do you know how to do completing the square when the coefficients of x squared and y squared being something other than 1? Okay, so that's that. Here we have these two questions. They are very similar to each other. So we're asking you, can you write down the standard form of the circle here? We give you some info. Can you help us do that? So we say, oh, if you have the center, if you know the equation, which is what? X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So if you know that the center, that means you can insert these two as the x and k values. And you have a point, that means you can put into the x and y. You can find out the r squared easily. And if they give you the endpoints of a diameter, that means you can tell the center, because the center is the midpoint of the diameters of the diameter of the center is the midpoint of the endpoints of the diameter. So you can find out the center, and once you find out the center, it's just like the previous question. You can plug in the points, find out the r squared. Now we'll go over these questions in a moment, but this is all about you doing the completing the square. So we'll talk about this in a moment. And then you go to the next page. And how do we know this is a circle or an ellipse? Because the coefficients in front of the x squared and r squared, they are different in this case. They're different in this case. So therefore, it must be an ellipse. Now, not only they're different, but they are both positive. Okay, they are different, yet they are both positive. So, so that's how we know it's an ellipse. Next week, we'll talk about what happens if the coefficients are different and having an opposite sign. That's next week stuff. Okay, so again, this is just about you completing the square. Okay, for this one and next one. Now, my major concern is the bottom part right here. Yesterday, we talked about this. Whenever they give you coordinates, what do? You plot them. You always plot them. Because you are not going to have an idea by just staring at the numbers. But when you plot them, you will be able to extract some good information. Okay? So make sure you plot them. Okay, so for the next 5 minutes, I want you to work on these 4 questions. Okay, and then we'll go over them together. Okay, so let's take 5 minutes to finish all these questions.